Well, when I started editing this, I realized I didn't put an intro to this video or why I started. I just started speaking. So this is a brief intro of while I'm moving stuff around. This is a video of certain things that I have learned along the way of making these dragons. So here we go. Something I figured out. When I first started making these guys, when I first started with this guy here, I needed to have them set up like this so I could work on them. And look here, sometimes you set them on a table like this and you can spin them around, but I like to look straight on at them to make sure I have the symmetry right. So I initially got a box of K-cup box, a big one that you buy from Sam's that has like 100 K-cups in it. I put a couple bricks in it, and then I taped this guy to the side of the box. I ran some tape around and held him up like this, so I could have him stand in front of me and work on him that way when I'm not working below. That worked okay, but when the second guy was a little bigger, it was a little tougher because it was top heavy. So if you want to work on these dragons and make these things, I suggest making something like this if you don't have a wall to stick them on. Took a 4x4 and attached it to this. I put some felt on the bottom so when I slide it around on the table, it doesn't scratch up the table. I'm on, the dining room table. My wife doesn't like that. But put it here, and I put some screws in here, so I can hang my dragons like this and work on them. Got some screws on the side. I added this piece because I have a arm for my phone that I film on, and I attach it to this and have it hang over. I used to have it on a chair next to me, but sometimes didn't get the angle I want, so I drilled and put this in here, and now I hang the arm off of this, and it's a little better. But I have on the front and on the sides, I put things on here to hold the dragon heads up. That way they can be right in front of me and I can see what I'm doing while I'm working on them. Been very helpful. So if you don't have one of these, I suggest you make one. It works really good. I also drilled a hole in the top, and I have a lamp that I slide into the top of this thing, and I can have light over top. But this guy here, I use this thing also. This piece, actually not this piece, but I took a piece of wood like this and attached it like that. Then I had this guy hanging off of it, and he fit there, and he could hang off it because it was kind of difficult to work on this guy on a flat surface because I needed to get on both sides of him to see what was going on. But the whole underbelly and everything is done also. So I put this on here. That way I could hang this guy off of it. And it was easier to work on. So he kind of, he would hang off of it like this, and I could get to everything I needed to get to and get him going. So if you don't have one of these and you want to make dragons like this, very helpful that you make one. It's really easy to do. Just cut a 4x4 and have yourself. I think this was an old shelf that I had laying around. Attach it, and then you can use it to make stuff with. That's the first thing that I learned from making these dragons. The other thing I've gotten questions about is, what is this black stuff that I'm dipping the cloth in? This is all cloth mache through here, right? So when I was making this guy and another dragon, this part right here, and then the lips, I don't have the lips on another dragon I can show you, but you notice on my newer videos the lips are black and this part is black. The reason I do that is when you paint the inside of here, and it's white because I'm using white bed sheets and white Elmer's glue, when I paint inside here it is very hard to paint in there. So on the inside of the mouth here and back over here, hard to get to, I make it black. So when you look inside there, and you don't have to paint it, it's already dark. so it's in shadow, so I don't have to paint it. Actually, I do have to paint right there. I missed a spot because it went back a little too far, but much easier to paint. And then when you put the lips on there, you don't have to paint the inside of the lips. Like this guy here. When I put the lip on there and you look in there, it's dark. It's not white. I hate seeing white spots that I've missed painted. This guy, just looking at it, yep, I can see right there the spot I missed. So that's why I do the black. And I have a video I made of how to mix up the black stuff, and we'll cut to that, and I'll do a little voiceover, then we'll come back here. So let's look at that real quick. Alright, you know, the basics that you use is the glue all for the cloth mache. So I just dump glue all into a bin and then just add black paint to it. It's just that easy. Just add a squirt or two of black paint in there and stir it up. Makes the glue gray color, a grayish color, almost black sometimes. But I don't know what I'm pointing at there. Oh yeah, I'm pointing at the paper mache. I have some paper mache cloth already cut up, or cloth mache cloth already cut up on ready to go, and I'm going to dip it into black paint and put it on the neck of the dragon. I also do the under scales with the black and the scales on the side black to cover up any spots you may miss during painting. I just find it real annoying when I can't get to a spot with a paintbrush to get paint on it, and that happens a lot when you have all these scales on these dragons. So I mix this stuff up just like that and dip it in there. And the thing is, when you get the glue all over your hands, it's white. Sometimes you don't see it because it dries clear. This, you can never miss it. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I may have to cut this part out. Oh, there we go. I'm showing you this dragon that I already showed you, and why I'm doing it. So we'll cut back to the main thing and get back to the video. Oh, okay, we're back. We're done doing that? All right. The magic of editing. Pretty awesome, huh? The other things I get is the green stuff. What is this green stuff? Well, the green stuff is shop towels dipped in glue. I do use cloth mache on a lot of these. It's underneath here and it makes it a lot more rigid, but I also like using this. I like when I use the cloth mache on the top, sometimes the cloths I use are a little too new, a little too thick, and they don't look as good. It looks like you stuck a piece of cloth on here. But this stuff, when you put it on here, when you tear it up and you have the rip sides going down, you don't see as many seams, and you can make it look a lot more like skin because it wrinkles up real nice. I know the cloth does too, but I like this. Alright, just a quick edit here. I like to show you a little closer up some of the wrinkles you can get out of this. If you were wanting to make a dragon without a bunch of scales on it and want a bunch of wrinkles, it comes out like this, you know. And any kind of fine detail, it covers it up pretty well. You can rip smaller pieces to get it around small things. So it looks pretty nice like this. I think it's Ultimate Paper Mache. She was using shop towels, and that's where I saw this set. She does a lot of cool stuff. You gotta check out her channel also. But for this a little thinner, so like on fine details and things like that, when you put the cloth on here, sometimes it's a little too thick and you miss out on some details you want to show through, which is why I go with this. And I like the way it works. So a lot of you guys say, I like the color of that dragon. Well, it's because the shop towel is blue. When you dip it into the glue and put it on here, it turns out green somehow. But that's why I use the blue stuff on this. Another thing I've learned to do is the necks on these things, they're not hollow. I don't make my necks hollow. When I make the paper mache shell and I cut the ends of them off, I fill them with great stuff. it was this guy right here, the first guy I did that on. And the reason I did it is right here, it was, this one's pretty heavy. These horns made him pretty heavy, and it was starting to collapse right here. I could see it bending. I was worried that it would not hold up. And I'd already had it mounted, so I drilled a hole through here and filled him with great stuff in there to hopefully stabilize it. And it filled up. I put a little too much in there. It was kind of a mess because it started bubbling out of his mouth. And I was able to get it all out and repaint it where it looks fine. But yeah, he was like having an issue there for a minute. So before I mount him to the board, I fill it with great stuff. And the other thing I found out when I do that is when I attach the tongue and the jaws to the neck, the great stuff in there, I leave the inside each tongue is a wire. I leave the wire long, and I push the wire into the great stuff and glue it in there, and it holds it on there, and it adds some stability. It makes it a little easier to attach the jaws to the neck, which is why I do that. The great stuff is great stuff, and it works pretty good. I like the way that works. Initially on the boards, I would use masking tape and cover this all with masking tape. So what I had been doing with the boards lately is I get a torch out, a little propane torch, and I burn it and then gloss it. Which comes out real nice. I like the burned effect. You know, it's a dragon. He burns things, so why wouldn't the board be burnt? So I did that for these ones. But when you cover this with tape, when you want to peel it off, there's a lot of residue left over, and it makes it look, you know, and you just scratch it trying to peel it off. So what I found out works really awesome is the, not saran wrap, but self-sealing wrap. I get that and I wrap it around here and then just tape the back. Works really good because it sticks really good, but it doesn't leave any residue behind. So it's really good. I just cut around here and peel it off, and it looks awesome. I like the way that it's come out. That's another thing that is real helpful when you want to make these things. You know, even though I posted a video of the teeth and how I make them, people still ask me what I use for the teeth. This one right here, you can see, this is white Sculpey. This is just Sculpey 3. The Primo translucent Sculpey is awesome to use. The other thing I've come across, which I used on my Nightmare, is Kato polyclay. It bakes at a higher temperature than Sculpey, and it's a little harder, I found, because I don't know, you guys that have done this before, as you're working on these things, you're doing something and you move your hand real quick and snap, tooth breaks off. Oh, now I got to fix a tooth. I'm a dragon dentist also. That Kato polyclay, really a little bit harder than the translucent Primo Sculpey. So none of those teeth on that thing broke while I was doing it. They're pretty hard. So I've been switching over to that. See, I got a broken tooth right there I'm going to have to replace. But these guys here, this is the Primo translucent Sculpey. That works the best for teeth. And I've had people ask me what kind of paint I use. I just use regular paint. Sometimes I get the little more expensive stuff, but most of it is just a craft paint, and it comes out real good. And then I do a matte finish on top of it and gloss in the mouth. Oh, another thing that I've learned is when you're putting the wire hangers through here. I know I've had in my videos, I get my little rotary tool thing, and I cut channels here and here so the wire lays flat. And I've had a problem with some of the guys, none of these guys out here have it on there, where once you put the neck on and you seal it all up, the wire moves out, and no, this is no longer flat. Well, what I've been doing back here is I'll cut a channel so the wire goes inside it, and then I'll fill this with my paper mache clay with the paper clay and the glue, and I'll fill that in there. This is hard as a rock. That way that wire doesn't come out when I mount the neck onto the wood. I guess it's wood. When I mount the neck, it doesn't come out, it stays there. That way when this is hanging on the wall, it hangs flat. And it's not wires through there. This bigger one, as you see, I originally put them on a small plaque. It was a little too small, so I had to make a bigger plaque. And the wires back there, you can see, I don't know, it'd be hard for you to see, but the wires aren't flat. I had to cut a hole here so those wires had a place to go, because this would not lay flat against the wall because of the way the wires are. So if I'd have cut channels ahead of time, it'd have been a little better. But those are a couple things that I've learned while doing this, and if I come across any more, I'll throw them in a video, a little instruction. I do have some, I'll cut this thing up, and well, I'm saying it after because you've already watched me cut it up, whatever. I'll throw it in some other videos so you can see how to do certain things that I figured out how to do. But if you like this video, shoot me a like. If you want to see more things like this, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. I say your best bet on how to build these things is Dan Reeder. Buy the book. That's the man to do that, to learn from. And please subscribe if you like this video. There'll be more to come. More creations I got coming down the pipe. Alright, thanks guys. Hope this helped you.